years later, same day, Jesus left the house and sat beside the lake. A large crowd soon gathered around him, so he got into a boat, and then he sat there and taught as the people stood at the shore. He told many stories in the form of parables, such as this one. Listen, a farmer went out to plant some seeds. They see me like, I'm gonna have to share the gospel. As he scattered them and spread it across his field, some seeds fell on the footpath, and the birds came and ate them. Other seeds fell on the shallow soil with underlying rock. The seeds sprouted quickly because the soil was shallow, but the plants soon withered under the hot sun. And since they didn't have deep roots, they died. Other seeds fell among ferns, and that grew up and choked out the tender plants. Still, other seeds fell on a fertile soil, and they produced a crop that was 30, 60, and even 100 times as much as had been planted. Anyone with ears to hear should listen and understand. His disciples came and asked him, "Why do you tell parables when you talk to people?" He replied, "You are permitted to understand the secrets of the kingdom of heaven, but others are not. To those who listen to my teaching, more understanding will be given, and they will have the evidence of knowledge. But for those who are not listening, even what little understanding they will have and be taken away from them. That is why I use these parables. For they look, but they don't really see, and they hear, but they don't really listen or understand." This fulfills the prophecy of Isaiah in the Old Testament, which says, "When you hear what I say, you will not understand, and when you see what I do, you will not comprehend. For the hearts of these people are hardened, and their ears cannot hear, and they have closed their eyes, so their eyes cannot see, and their ears cannot hear, and their hearts cannot understand, and they cannot turn to me and let me heal them. But blessed are your eyes, because you can see, and your ears, because they hear. I tell you the truth, many prophets and righteous people long to see what you see, but they didn't see it, and they long to hear what you hear, but they didn't hear it." Now listen to this explanation of the parable about the farmer planting seeds. The seed that fell on the footpath represents those who hear the message about the kingdom and don't understand it. Then the evil one comes and snatches away their seed that was planted in their hearts. The seed on the rocky soil represents those who hear the message and immediately receive it with joy. But since they don't have deep roots, they don't last long. They fall away as soon as they have problems or are persecuted for believing God's word, the Bible. The seed that fell among the thorn represents those who hear God's word, but all too quickly the message is crowded out by the worries of this life and the lure of wealth, so no fruit is produced. The seed that fell on the good soil represents those who truly hear and understand God's word, the Bible, and produce a harvest of 30, 60, or even 100 times as much as had been planted. Here is another story Jesus told. The kingdom of heaven is like a farmer who planted good seed in his field. But that night, as the workers slept, his enemy came and planted weeds among the wheat, and then slipped away. When the crop began to grow, that produced grain, and weeds also grew. The farmer's workers went out to him and said, "Sir, the field where you planted the good seed is full of weeds. Where did they come from?" "An enemy has done this," the farmer exclaimed. "Should we pull out the weeds?" they asked. "No," he replied. "You uproot the wheat if you do, and let both grow together until the harvest. And then I will tell the harvesters to sort out the weeds, tie them in bundles, and burn them, and to put the wheat in the barn. Here's another illustration Jesus needed to use. The kingdom of heaven is like a mustard seed planted in a field. It is the smallest of all seeds, but it becomes the largest of the garden plants. It grows into a tree, and birds come and make nests in its branches. Jesus also used this illustration. The kingdom of God heaven is like yeast a woman used to make bread, even though she put only little yeast in there and 3 measures of flour. It permitted every part of the dough. Jesus always used stories and illustrations like these when speaking to the crowds. In fact, he never spoke to them without using such parables, and is fulfilled what God has spoken through the prophet. I will speak to you in parables, and I will explain the hidden things since the creation of the world. Then leaving the crowds outside, Jesus went into the house. His disciples said, "Please explain to us the story of the weeds in the field." Jesus replied, "The Son of Man is the farmer who plants the good seed. In the field is the world, and the good seed represents the people of the kingdom. The weeds are the people who belong to this evil one, the enemy who planted the weeds. Among the wheat is the devil. The harvest is the end of the world, and the harvesters are the angels. Just as the weeds are sorted out and burned into the fire, so it will be at the end of the world. The Son of Man will send his angels, and they will remove from his kingdom everything that causes sin and all who do evil. And the angels will throw them into the fiery furnace, where there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. And then the righteous will shine like the sun in their Father's kingdom. Anyone who has ears to hear should listen to and understand. The kingdom of heaven is like the treasure that a man discovered hidden in a field. In his excitement, he hid it again and sold everything he owned to get enough money to buy the field. Again, the kingdom of heaven is like a merchant on the lookout for choice pearls. When he discovered a large pearl of great value, he sold everything he owned and bought it. Again, the kingdom of heaven is like a fishing net that was thrown into the water and caught fish of every kind. When the net was fulfilled, they dragged it up onto the shore, sat down and sorted the good fish into crates, but threw the bad ones away. That is the way it will be at the end of the world. The angels will come and separate the wicked people from the righteous, throwing the wicked into the fiery furnace, hell, where there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. Do you understand all of this? Yes, they said, we do. Then he added, every teacher of religious law who becomes a disciple in the kingdom of heaven is like a homeowner who brings from the storeroom new gems of truth as well as old. When Jesus had finished telling these parable stories and illustrations, he left that part of the country. He returned to Nazareth, his hometown, and when he taught there in the synagogue, everyone was amazed and said, "Where does he get this wisdom and the power to do miracles?" Then they scoffed. "He's just the carpenter's son, and we know Mary, his mother, and his brothers, James, Joseph, Simon, and Judas. All his sisters live right here among us. Where did he learn all these things?" And they were deeply offended and refused to believe in him. And then Jesus told them, a prophet is honored everywhere except in his own hometown and among his own family, and so did only a few miracles there because of their unbelief. So that was Matthew chapter 13.